right, Revelation Wellness community. Today is a fun day. I saw this on my schedule. I'm like, oh, these are fun ones. This is like talking to family. For real, this is family. Today, you are going to meet ambassadors that are here, going to share what they're up to out in the mission field. This feels like the real stuff for which I said yes to the Lord to begin this call. Today, I have Jenn Hebert and Spencer Fusselman. Is it Fusselman? Yes, Fusselman. I love that. I have a friend here as the last name Fusselman, and they are ambassadors in their own right of influence. So I'm going to let them talk about it. But what our ambassadors are, for those of you who are new to Revelation Wellness, the ministry, or listening to the podcast, this community of people, we are not just people that want to get better for ourselves. This is a go out and love others. God says the greatest commandment is love him with all our heart, mind, soul, and strength, and go love others as yourself. So there has to be a going out. Now, we have a lot of instructors around the world that do that, over 3,000 now to date in the last 10 years. But ambassadors are the rugged few. They are the ones who want to go into marginalized communities that you often wouldn't first think need health or fitness or have it anywhere on their radar. And I'm going to put a link in the show notes. If you've never seen our Hope Fest video with Revelation Wellness, I would love for you to go watch it. It was an impetus of like, we're going to do this. We're going to find avenues to bring hope alive and embody the love and joy and strength and courage of Christ when we move bodies. And that's what our ambassadors do. So you guys as donors, if you're listening, you have put these people through training. They have from soup to nuts, you paid for their instructor training and resources that they need, and back-end resources as well. We continue to want to come alongside their ministries. So you are funding and fueling this engine to bring health and wholeness to all bodies that are good bodies around the world. So Jenn and Spencer, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
All right, I'm going to start with Jenn. Jenn, tell our listeners a little bit about who you are and what you do as an ambassador.
Yeah, wonderful. My name is Jenn Hebert, like you said, and I live in New Hampshire. My husband and I founded Roca Kids Club. It's an inner city nonprofit where we get to tell kids about God's love. We exist so that we can share the genuine love of God with kids and inspire them to change the world around them. People would not know this, but Manchester, New Hampshire is probably one of the most, I would say it has a lot of poverty and a lot of drugs, a lot of violence in our neighborhood, a huge heroin epidemic and homelessness. And at the same time, there are these beautiful kids that come in the city center that are just kind of running the streets. And our hope is that kids and adults would come to know Christ through our organization that we started. We saw a need and we had this desire to meet it. And when I heard about Revelation Wellness, I actually have a background in fitness, 10 years teaching cardio dance and a bunch of different things. And God was working on me with, loving food and loving working out. And I had taken a step back for about 1.5 years. And so when I got to come and be a part of this, I got to see it be involved in Roca. That's our ministry. We believe that life is ministry and ministry is life. And so not only do we do Roca Kids Club full-time, we have a business full-time. My husband and I have a 24-year-old son, Nicholas, a almost 23-year-old daughter, Kaylin, and a daughter, Nadia, who we adopted, who's now 4. I adopted her during our platoon, our training. I didn't even know if we were going to adopt her. We've fostered 26 kids in the last 10 years.
Goodness.
Had no desire to adopt. And here we are with this little one. And during training, everybody was praying for me. Like, what do we do, Lord? What do we do? Like, I'm empty nested. And so we get to use fitness as a tool, really, to share the gospel with people in our home, outside in the streets, overseas, doing mission work. We're coaches and mentors for an organization called the World Race. So I got to take Revelation Wellness to Albania. Next month, I'm going to Georgia, the country, and then probably will be in Kyrgyzstan in a couple of months. So this is so much fun that we get to do this, to share it not only with those believers, to inspire and train and equip them, but also non-believers. I love it.
I love it. And I love that you would say, this is so much fun. Like it should be fun. It should feel like an adventure. it should have that, I wonder what would happen if we do this, and exploring it. So that is amazing. I'm going to come back and ask more about Roca
Yeah,
Kids.
sure.
Spencer, tell us a little bit about where you are, what you do.
So I'm currently located out just south of Albuquerque, New Mexico. We have a small fitness and martial arts ministry out here, as well as we're doing a lot of things with some veteran outreach.
Mm,
So, man, I think about 2 years ago, we founded Warrior Faith Ministries, which encompasses a lot. The ministry itself is just a way to reach veterans that are exiting the military.
yeah.
But there's so many disciplines that we learn as warriors that connect to faith in a very powerful way, in a very tangible way. The
Yes.
disciplines of being hyper vigilant in
Hmm.
the way that we live our lives on and off the battlefield, recognizing that we live in a battlefield
Come on.
every single day. We walk the spiritual battle, and the first action of the day is to wake up and put two in the chest and one of the head of the old man or the old woman, and carry on
Ooh.
with God's will and not just my own. It's a battlefield, and so what we try to accomplish with this is really being able to teach those warrior disciplines in such a way that
Wow.
it connects with people, that it connects with warriors, it connects with American soldiers that are not just warriors for their country, but also want to be warriors for their king.
Mm, man, you're going to kill me with the two in the chest and one in the head. Like, yes, the old man, it rises
Mhm.
up every morning and it has to be surrendered and given over, and death to self time and time again. It is such
Absolutely.
a warrior call that we are on. So you guys just so excite me. So thank you. Thank you for saying yes to what God's called you to do, and that our yeses met each other, and donors, that your yes met them, because we believe in this. I believe it. Like, shut it all down. If we're not doing this, I don't want to do like the Red Bull TV, or I'm so
Mhm.
happy we get to be in everyone's home, in middle America and all these common places where fitness is found. But the way that you guys are taking it into places that are harder, can feel tough and maybe discouraging even. So let's go back to Jenn with kids. That alone is either you get kids that are very open to this experience, or maybe very resistant. Maybe tell us a little bit about the community, the kids, how you see your ministry, or how it unfolds for you working with kids.
Yeah, so you might want to help me with what maybe you're asking, help me get
Mm-hmm.
there. But so basically we saw a need in two parts, is like
Okay.
seeing these kids run the streets, and then seeing people that love God not get outside of their four walls. And they want to find
Mm,
out from their church, can I do this? Can I do that? And it was, hey, if you want to do food ministry, just get some food out of your fridge and go take it to the streets. You don't have to ask anybody. And so my husband and I were talking out of our own need. We weren't doing like fabulous things at the time and said, let's do that. We had our own need. And so we heard God say to go and reach the kids. So we said, let's call up to like a church that we know that kids could walk to. We had seen it
yeah.
overseas. You do outreaches and different things. And we called up some friends who had this desire to want to do something, and said,
Mhm.
hey, come join us one summer. Let's have some food. Like, let's not spend our money and just go grill some burgers. And we flyered one time and 34 kids came out. And then it was 40, 60, 80 kids that were walking.
Wow.
A lot of them, they're very impoverished neighborhoods, abuse, neglect, a lot of moms that have addiction issues. And then within 2 years, we had over 120 kids in a little storefront neighborhood that most people drive around the city, and we're in the city. We're like in the streets that nobody wants to go in. And we have
Mm.
30, 40 volunteers from over 15 different churches. And one summer turned into a second location that they run simultaneously. And then years later, a church heard about it, somebody else is inspired, and now there's 4 or 5 out there that are kind of mimicking what we're doing. We saw it down in Buffalo, New York at the Dream Center out there, of a family just reaching kids. And now we get to do that. And we have such crazy influence it makes me cry, in our neighborhood, all because of God's love.
Yeah.
When
Amen.
you impart God's love to children,
Mm.
it can't help but affect even people around, because they can
Mm.
never say, I've never known the love of a father, or I've never known what it was like to have somebody care for me or look me in the eye. And so we've been able to be influential. I didn't envision our city being changed because of just us going out and meeting kids in the streets.
And it started with food. You did a
Yeah, so it's very simple. It's like an hour and a half. So for 30 minutes, they come and they eat dinner, and then they run around to different stations, and then they come back and give them a message. But their messages, so every week they shout the four most important things. God loves me. I have sinned. Jesus died for me, and I must decide to live for Jesus. And they
Oof.
tell, why do you come to Roca? And we used to do rules, but they don't follow rules. They don't want to stay in their seats. So we're like, let's get rid of those. So why do you come? And they say, to have a safe and fun place to be, to know and feel that God loves me, and to believe that I can change the world around me. So to have it's like when you walk into a relationship with Christ, you're fun, it's safe, it's good. To know and feel is like they get to encounter the Holy Spirit. And then to believe that I can change the world, it's our part of like when we love others. It's
Yes.
the same mission. It's just 3 steps instead of breaking it down how we do with Revelation Wellness. It's
Yes.
the same process of what God does, of like become a disciple, go and make disciples.
And how many kids now you would say you reach?
So post this crazy season we have right now, we have about 90 kids because we have 2 running at the same time. And then we have a teen night as well. But
Wow.
this summer, they're all starting to trickle back in the streets. And then at our other location, this area is, I don't know what the word is, I forgot, but where a lot of refugees come and they become new Americans. And so at one location, it's like a lot of poverty, and brokenness is another one is more like kids from Iraq, Somalia, Uganda, Nepal. So it's like, you don't have to go to the nations. You can just
That's
come
right.
to Roca Cedar or Roca
Come
Wilson.
on. That's
It's
so good.
It's awesome.
Wow. Okay. I'm just putting my head around just the simple act of, okay, we're going to flip some burgers, and what comes of that. You guys, come on, people, as we're sitting, and we're doing our rebel tea, we're doing all the things to be healthy and be whole. Yes. I'm so grateful, but output matters. Input comes in, we do our health, get the things that we need, read our scripture, whatever it is we do, be in community, but output, go and do something that maybe is outside, please, outside your box or uncomfortable, because that's where the Holy Spirit's working. Spencer, tell me a little bit about how yours got going as Warrior Faith Ministries, and how you see it working in your community.
Yeah, this one gets complex. So
That's all right.
I will try to bring this down. It really starts with what God did in my heart, and I think that's pretty much par for the course for, I'd say, maybe 90% of the ministries out there. I left active duty as an infantryman, 7.5 years infantry. So jumping out of helicopters and shooting people in the face was my job. It's an incredibly taxing job physically, demanding job mentally, and it's even taxing spiritually. It's not necessarily a culture that you find very many believers in. Right. So there's a lot of negative influences there, but still the brotherhood that you build there was phenomenal. And so while I was finishing up my last of those 7.5 years, I had no intention of leaving. I loved the job. I loved mentoring soldiers. It was something that I felt that I was really good at, and being a mentor to some of these younger guys was amazing. And I absolutely loved it. But the bottom line is hard times hit, and they hit hard. And we needed a chaplain that really understood the combat arms culture.
Yeah.
And I didn't have that.
Yeah.
And so as one of those things where I'm praying to God, like, could you send me somebody that's not, and I mean no offense, but an overglorified youth pastor? I need somebody that has walked in the fire. And he's looking at me and he's saying, you're the chaplain
that's
now.
You.
I'm like, no, I'm not ready for this. And he says, I'm going to make you ready. I accepted a commission as a reserve chaplain candidate in 2017. And I've been finishing out my master's degree so that I could go back into active duty. But what happened in the process of leaving was I didn't have my platoon anymore. I didn't have my brotherhood. I didn't have my safety net of my military family. I walked directly out of Hawaii, where I was serving, into Texas. And in Texas, I didn't have family there. I
Mm,
literally cried myself to sleep for
mm,
like 6 months straight.
mm.
So warrior faith became a concept to help soothe that pain of warriors leaving active
Mm.
duty and being
Yeah.
able to build a fire team. And so we're
Yeah.
still working towards this concept, but one of the things that we can all rally around was fitness.
Yeah.
So we started doing workouts together because in the active duty culture,
It's
that's
norm.
your identity. You know,
Right.
you are
Yeah.
judged as a soldier on how fit you are in
Yeah.
many ways.
Your PRs,
But
your times. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's not part of the classic, judgment, like the official thing, but you can tell a lot about a soldier about how they discipline their body, and
So
you can tell
true.
a lot about a leader by how they discipline their body.
That's true.
If they're disciplining their body and fit to lead themselves, and they are surely fit to lead my other soldiers.
Wow.
And that's, when I passed off my platoon to another NCO, um, I wanted to make sure he was fit not just to lead himself, but to lead those soldiers. And they got a great leader.
Yeah.
Um,
That's good.
so fitness became part of that, and then through some of the healing disciplines and things that I went through for PTSD,
I was going to
we kind
ask
of
you
picked
about
up
that.
martial
Is
arts.
PTSD part of, it's got to be part of a lot. I mean, everyone
Yeah,
you see. Yeah.
yeah, and it's unfortunately it's more often than not,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and it's a bigger problem than what the world wants to admit that it is. To be
Amen.
honest with you,
Come on. It's true.
there are so many people with a high functioning anxiety that is linked to a traumatic event in their life that
Yeah.
they don't realize that they need to heal from it.
Yeah.
When I left active duty, I was in total denial that I
Yeah.
had post-traumatic stress. They
Yeah.
said, "Oh, Sergeant Fusselman, you got a mild case of post-traumatic stress. You need to see treatment." And I said, "Can you get it done in 14 days? Because I got a clear post." And they said, "No, it's really not how this works." And I was prideful and arrogant enough to tell them, "All right, well, I'm going to have to decline treatment." And I went a
Mm-hmm.
couple years with undiagnosed trauma that was
Mm-hmm.
toxifying every relationship around me,
Mm-hmm.
including my own
Mm-hmm.
marriage,
Mm-hmm.
until I started having episodes and started realizing, dang, I need help.
Yeah. 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 And so what was help for you? Can I ask?
A lot of biblical counseling, a
Yeah.
lot of therapy, and ironically enough, I got a service dog who
Yeah.
has been a lifesaver. And it's
Yeah.
what's really interesting to me about that relationship with the service dog is that it taught me how to love something that couldn't communicate with me.
Woo. Whoa. Whoa. Sit with that.
And
Oh
that
man.
that created so much healing opportunity for me to be able to stop and actually learn how to communicate with people again instead of just targets.
Wow. Yeah, Spencer.
So
Good teach.
yeah, that was a lot of the help there. Obviously being enrolled in a master's degree at a seminary was also very helpful. Being
Mm-hmm.
surrounded by amazing people that could
Mm-hmm.
carry me out of the flames when I needed to be carried out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's the beauty of being able to surround yourself with positive interactions in your life and
Mm-hmm.
positive people in your life and mentors and mentees. And again, bringing it back to the fitness culture of the military, we were
Mm-hmm.
always working out together, learning from one another, building those
Mm-hmm.
relationships with one another.
Mm-hmm.
And Christian discipline is no different. The act of
Mm-hmm.
discipleship is no different than that same brotherhood that we have in
Mm-hmm.
those military circles of we're always learning from each other. We're always walking through the fire with each other. We're
Mm-hmm.
always
Come on.
encouraging each other for just one more rep.
That's right.
Guys, I'm feeling like quitting my ministry today. Come on, man, just one more rep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
God's going to do
Yeah.
something big, and He
Yeah.
always does.
So the actual, how have you seen fitness? Do you have classes once a week? What does it look like practically for your ministry?
So for our ministry, we are just relaunching the actual like the CrossFit side of it
Okay.
in a couple of weeks. I've got one more Army trip coming up, and then I'm back in, and we're going to be relaunching.
Awesome.
What's really neat about that is we're running one of those once a week. The format is very similar to exactly what I learned in RevX.
Yeah. Come
That's what
on.
I've been doing for a while.
Yeah. Good.
And we're actually opening them up to the ROTC, the UNM ROTC family. What's really neat about that relationship is this is the future of the American warrior. These are the future leaders of the American
Yeah.
warrior.
Yeah.
If we have an opportunity to shape the next generation of leaders
Yes.
coming into the military, then we might be able to shape the next soldier. And so we're giving them an opportunity to not only improve their own fitness, but learn how to lead through those environments. So It's partially spurred on by our church here locally, but all of our equipment and everything else is here in my home gym, which was also the home dojo. So it's a completely outfitted garage with all the equipment
Wow.
that we need.
Awesome.
It was also originally, the birthplace of our karate club, which was our youth outreach event.
Awesome.
So we're teaching karate once or twice a night, or once or twice a week. And we've got the actual CrossFit ministry that comes with that as well. So Warrior Faith Fitness is kind of that. We've done some virtual things through COVID and whatnot as well, just to put some things out there for my soldiers that are dispersed.
Yeah.
But we've really been able to make a deep impact with these once a week, just kind of check-ins with the soldiers, the vets, the guys that are retired, the guys that are separating, the active reserve soldiers here, as well as now we're opening the door to the university for the ROTC cadets as well.
Yeah. What do you see? And then I'm going to ask you the same question, Jenn. What do you see when people come to your dojo or come and move their body, whether it's in the karate or just in that kind of CrossFit vein, when they are being led scripturally as well, when they're being led into that bigger perspective of a kingdom that for which, like I said, they're laying their life down for a king, but their bodies are there too. Can you put any language around what you see happen?
A lightning bolt.
Right?
That's the first thing that comes to my mind is a lightning bolt. It's like that light bulb moment of things that are connecting, of learning that I have to do hard things. Even spiritually, I have to discipline myself to do hard things, and it's going to be hard, but I've got my family here. And just watching how the spiritual connection, the connective tissue between the Bible and a physical life that God has given us to live, it connects, and it's like a lightning bolt. The other thing that I see is the release, which is that soothing thunder that comes right after that. So the stress that's happening, they might come in this little ball of energy. And I see this with some of my karate students, man. They're so just this ball of stress, ball of energy, ball of ridiculousness, tension. We get through kicking the heck out of some stuff. And then at the end of it, we take a deep breath. And I do an interesting breathing exercise. It's breathing in.
Teach us. We want to know. Do it.
So just close your eyes. I want you to take a deep breath in. 3 seconds. 1,000, 2,000, 3. Let it out. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. On the next breath in, I want you to breathe in God's life and be focused on God's life as you breathe in through your nostrils. Breathe in 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Breathe it out through your mouth, letting go of everything, the garbage of the world, the hatred, the darkness. Go ahead and let that out. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4. Open your eyes. And just that one moment of realizing that I'm breathing in God's life, just as scripture says, he breathed his life into our nostrils.
Yes, sir.
To make us come alive. It's his spirit that's indwelt in us. And if we replace that and be intentional with breathing out and exhaling the garbage, just like the lungs do, you breathe the oxygen in, which is the life-giving everything. And then you're exhaling all the toxins. So the toxicity of your life before you came into the fitness class today, what's that look like? Let it go. And then we get into our message.
I'm telling you, isn't it the best? I think it's the best. I'm grateful for, I think it's just so cool how God's bringing it all together. We've had great teaching. We have great podcasts. We have great information. We have great access to the Bible. We have a lot of stuff, but this little seed of getting people to, hey, let's hit some heavy bags, or let's do something that gets them physical, because they're fighting a physical battle most of the time, not seeing there's a spiritual war. And then when you introduce them to the love of God, and their defenses are down in a way, because when we're physical, we're weakening. He just shows up. There's testimonies I hear often, time and time again, across the board, are people that have said, man, I've been a Christian my whole life. I've known Jesus, but today I met him on my mat or in that moment. And that was said, and you didn't say it, he was saying it. And it's so cool. And I can't imagine for those who have never known him too, to be overwhelmed by this comfort and peace. Okay, Jenn, your turn, Jenn. Tell us a little bit of the actual practical. Do you have classes? How does fitness play into Roca kids moving their bodies? And then maybe how you see it knitting together.
So right now, during the message time, I recently did a message and brought sticks. And I mean, we were just marching. We were like claiming freedom for our city, and really like we're adopting our city and we're rewriting its future.
Wow.
And to hear the kids play, and they have so much stress and trauma in their bodies. So
Yeah.
to be able to play
Yes.
while they're learning, while they're speaking it out.
It's good.
And then I've also been invited to teach in other avenues with kids, with other organizations, and I get to bring it there. And so I feel like Roca has been a net. It's Roca Kids Club. We call it Roca too. It's been in like a net of opportunities for me. So I get to do that there. And then I teach every week to, it's called New Life Women's Home. And I was there in a 16-month program, a rehabilitation program of addiction. And then they really wanted to be in the gym. So I went and marched my butt in the gym and said, I need to bring this in the gym. So now we have like a recovery home and a second recovery home, partnering with just people in the gym that are filtering into the class.
Wow.
And so those are my few classes that I get to do live a week. And I have gotten to see, you know, when you said, Spencer, the Lord said, told me like release, it's release. And it's like what home in the church is like, because they come in with their bodies being so tense.
That's right.
And then there's a physical release and a spiritual release, to where it's a season right now where I'm seeing people come up to me after class, because it's not held in the church. I also do pop-up classes at the church, and that's like where the finances can come in, and then I donate to the other things. And I've gotten to pray over women that are broken. And you know, Spencer, it was really cool, and I thank you for sharing yours, because I think I place such a high value on freedom, because I'm this girl that does not have a college education. I was abandoned as a child by no father, sexually abused by a grandfather as a little girl, and grew up to make horrible decisions, met my husband and married him and pregnant in 5 months, and walked a really hard road, even knowing who Jesus was. But it was the freedom that he brought me. And so now, whether it's kids or adults, if you have money or an education, I don't care. I'm going to tell you about the freedom that God brings, and that he will use the most unlikeliest person to just be an introducer to him. And so for the kids, I don't shy away, because these kids aren't praying for like bring them a puppy. They're praying for their dad to get out of jail, or for them to have groceries, or for them to bring their brother home who's in a gang. And so to me, it doesn't feel any different from when I'm teaching kids to adults, to those that don't believe. It's all the same thing.
Yeah. Isn't it the simple gospel? Right. It's not, this is the gospel for you, and this is the gospel for you. It's the gospel.
It's the gospel. That's right. And their bodies just relax.
Yeah. So good. Guys are like fueling me. I'm about to go get dangerous. Now what are we going to do? How are we going to get some more ambassadors? Listen, as you guys are listening, and these stories are stirring you, we're challenging you as a community. Revelation Wellness, we're not people that just feel better. We want to get better. What is God putting before you? Who are the people that you're called to serve? Everyone has a body, and everyone's walking around with tension. Everyone's walking around with some form of trauma, capital T, little t, and they need integration back to themselves. And you can provide this in becoming an ambassador. If you have a community that coming to mind, God's putting it right now in your heart, whether it's through your church or through an organization that you're connected with, what would it look like to bring Revelation Wellness, just this teaching and understanding, to that community? It's the gospel. It's just more of the gospel in the vein of how do we help people connect back to their bodies and move closer to the heart of God. So we're challenging you to listen. Before we go, I want to ask each of you, what would you say to those what would you say, first of all, to our donors? I mean, I know you're going to say thank you, but also just how do we charge this mission forward a little bit more? We want to hear it from you guys. So Spencer.
I mean, obviously a resounding thank you. I had some fitness training from the military, master fitness trainer level, but it doesn't certify anything on the civilian side. However, what the Revelation Wellness program means to both my Warrior Faith Fit as well as the Christian Karate Club, has been invaluable. Being able to use the training that I've been given from you guys to level up both of those programs has allowed us to grow in ways far beyond my wildest imagination. I started the karate club with 2 students in my garage, and we outgrew that. We're almost up to 55 students now.
So cool.
And it's just, it keeps growing every single day. Even Monday, we had 2 new students sign up, and they're just amped to get back into it, to be doing something physically, but to be really connecting all of the tissue between safe fitness as well as the spiritual applications of, God gave us a body to use for his glory.
Yeah.
And so it has become part of our creed, and it has become part of the way that we do life. And I truly say that this has been one of the most important things that we've done for the ministry, was to go through the certification process with Rebel Illness.
Fantastic.
And we owe that to y'all.
Yeah. Thank you. Jenn, what about you?
Yeah. My friend, Sarah Fournier, who wasn't a great friend at the time, was a donor. And from May 19th, 2018, all the way to January 3rd, 2020, I wrote it down. She sent me 6 videos of either you, Alisa, a training, or like a blog. And I just kept ignoring them. And I had seen Revelation Wellness, and I'd seen you, Alisa, maybe 5 years ago. And I thought, nah, I don't want anything churchy. I just want to be in the streets. But I actually didn't look at it. And literally 6 times a donor sent it to me, to where I finally looked at it in January 6th. I got a message back from Joy and told me about the ambassador program. I didn't even know what it was, because I hadn't even really looked at the website. I thought, you're going to kill me if I don't look at this. And it's because of that donor that my passion for sharing the gospel and my passion for fitness were able to really come together.
Yeah.
And it has equipped me to be a stronger leader and trainer and teacher and friend and fun person to fill the gaps that allow me to do things more confidently.
Yes.
And we need donors to come around people, because it's not only the finances, it's the like, hey, I believe in you. It's like I'm on the field and somebody's coming and running out to me and bringing me a quick drink of water and saying, keep going, you got it, you got it.
You got it.
It's not tiring. It's just, I need more. I just need the endurance and the God's called us to be in community with one another. And so what I just encourage donors to continue to give and pour out, because they're blessed as they're blessing others. And it's just such a beautiful, sweet spot. Had my friend Sarah not done it literally, Alisa,
6 times.
I can show you all her messages from 2018 to when I finally did it, and I jumped right in it. And I had no idea that the training was going to be as effective as it was for me in everything that I do in my life, because it could be teaching classes, or we do something called Taco Tuesdays. And it's given me a different strength to reach the 20 somethings. Now we have people over my house every Tuesday. I'm Mexican and I'm married to the New Englander, but I still got to bring it here. And so it doesn't matter. It's just every part of our life, we get to bring Revelation Wellness to what it is we're doing. Like, this is how I rev. It's like
it's all integrated. Yeah. It's not this part of me goes here to church, this part of me goes here. You're that whole person. And no matter where you go, there's going to be a physical, meet a need, heal a hurt. It's your assignment to bring heaven to earth. You got to train for that. This isn't I clock in and clock out. And it's a delight to see. Yeah. This is a daily lifestyle, like nothing else. Okay, you guys, I want to encourage you to learn more about Roca Ministry, or how is it, Roca Kids?
Yeah,
right.
Roca.
And it's the links are in the show notes. Again, if anywhere near Roca Kids, look into it, because maybe you know someone that needs to know someone, or you want to know more about a Roca Kids, or however you can come alongside Jenn. We are a high tide makes many boats rise ministry. We are here to make sure these ministries get the exposure they need. By the way, they come through training, donors, and then we continue, as she said, to back end support. I'm looking at both of you right now saying, now that we've had this face-to-face, this always feels like such a gift to me to get some moment and some time with you, ambassadors. Tell us what you need. I'm always telling Lacey, tell us, what do they need? What is their need? Is there shoes for kids, food? What is it that we can help fund? Because as much as we put money out into other ministries as well, just, that might not have ambassadors connected to us, which we totally will do because we believe in, again, the church as a whole. But it really gets us excited when we can continue to blow into these very personal ministries for us, because you're part of the call. So we continue to encourage them, have discipleship calls for them as ambassadors, and want you to keep going. So do not stop. And Spencer, I meant to say thank you for your service. Thank you for how you've laid down your life and now you've picked up your cross. And so many people are coming to life. Same for you, Jenn, to throw out a burger party and watch what happens. I mean, it's costly. This is all costly. We could all do much more glamorous things with our lives, but why? This is where life is found. And thank you. Thank you guys for saying yes. Okay, donors, thank you, donors. Swipe up on the show notes, find out more. And Spencer's ministry is warriorfaithministries.org.
Correct. Warriorfaithministries.org.
Warriorfaithministries.org. You can find out more about either the karate club or the CrossFit one that's kind of coming back soon, which he went through. And I just want to shout out Platoon 27. That was Rev X for Spencer. And what were you, 24, Jenn?
24.
Wow. And this is all due to COVID.
Yes.
So had it not been for the COVID situation, although you came through 24 was when we were supposed to meet in person.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
And then Impact coming. So I can't wait.
Am I going to see you this weekend?
Yes.
Yay. Awesome. Spencer, I want to see you at some point face to face. I'm going to make my way over.
We gotta make it happen.
Honestly.
I was hoping to come to Impact, but I'm going to be at a martial arts, faith-based martial arts convention, learning how to invest back into that ministry. So it's just the timing didn't sync up right this time.
You need to be there. We send you there.
Next time, let's go.
Okay. I got to see you. Yeah, we do. And that's another thing. We invite some ambassadors to come back. We want to hear stories. We want to fuel them. So, all right. Thanks you guys for hanging out and sharing. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you.
Peace.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching, and remember, this video was brought to you by Revelation Wellness Instructor Training Program. Do you love Jesus and have a passion for fitness and wellness? Or maybe you're tired of the roller coaster of obsessing over and neglecting your body, and you know there has to be more to fitness. Let us equip you to lead others to health and wholeness rooted in Jesus Christ through our faith-based fitness instructor training program. Go to our website to learn more and listen to testimonies of people just like you who are bringing hope and healing to their communities as fitness teacher gospel preachers. Click the link in the description of this video and download a packet to get your journey to health and wholeness through Christ started today.